Hello and welcome to I'm Leibing from Covalent, and I'm very happy to have here with me Kmak. Is your name pronounced as Mark with the silent K?
The K is not silent actually. It's,
okay, so sorry, I got that wrong. How do I pronounce your name?
Kmak. Yeah.
Kmak. Nice, awesome. Cause in Korea, they have this silent K thing, but I'm from Asia, so it's that kind of reference that go. Kmak, who is the senior blockchain engineer and developer relations at Nervos Network. And Nervos Network has also a very exciting layer 2 called Godwoken. And the whole point of today's workshop actually is, for Daniel to introduce to you what is Nervos and also what is Godwoken, why you should be building on it as a developer, why you should be interested, and also how you can start going about doing so. And then my role here today will be to show you how you can use Covalent to get on-chain data from Godwoken network, right? We haven't indexed Nervos, but we've indexed their layer 2 Godwoken, both the mainnet and the testnet. So I'm going to be showing you how to get data from Godwoken network, and we're going to have a fun time, aren't we?
Yeah, I agree. I'm very excited about this presentation, especially that we spent last few months after launching our mainnet of Godwoken in early July, and we spent a lot of time, trying getting all these developer tooling integrated to provide the best experience for devs. So I'm really excited to be here and also to listen and talk to you about Covalent.
Amazing, man. I've got one question before we begin. Why Godwoken is such a powerful name? And when I first saw it, I was like, whoa, this is pretty epic. It probably is going to be super fast, whatever it is. But how do you guys come up with the name?
I think our naming, I think at Nervos, many of our products used to have anime related names. I'm not fully sure how Godwoken name came to be, but yeah, we tend to use some a bit, let's say, either anime or a bit exotic names for our products.
That's awesome. Are you into anime?
I used to be when I was a kid, and now a little bit less, but my siblings are watching a lot, and I think that our developers, many of them, if you look at the GitHub, they have the anime profile pictures, and I think we have this big culture among developers.
Yes, so do we actually. Our developers here also have anime profiles, some of them. And I personally I love anime. I've watched so much anime. So when I heard something Godwoken is the godlike network that is just woken up and is out to destroy all other networks.
I would have to check if it's from anime or but yeah, we are sticking to it, and we are producing a merge, and we will probably have some new branding with this name, etc. Hiring amazing designers and NFTs. So I talked to our head of DevRel who maybe can organize something.
Also, I would love a Godwoken merch. Please send me one. Send some for my team as well, so that they don't say that I'm too selfish with all this merch.
We have amazing cyberpunk t-shirt, Godwoken themes. I'll try to I'll talk to our head of DevRel.
Awesome. I can't wait. Okay, we've digressed quite a bit. You've got some slides too, right? Maybe we can how do we share this? You can probably share your screen.
Yeah, so maybe I can start with my slides. All right, you should be able to see my screen.
Yes, building on Godwoken. How do I start? How do I start building?
Yeah, so generally you could basically do pretty much the same stuff as you would do for other Ethereum networks. So I'm not sure, how do you usually try to get the data to like deploy? Do you have like a preferred site to get like RPC data, or like, I don't know, the chain ID?
Yeah, to get RPC data, we use some of the when I built, like for instance, use the likes of Infura, you know, to get mainly JSON RPC data. They are, you know, the biggest like mainstay in this game, right? Everyone uses them to get RPC data. So can we do that as well with Godwoken?
So for Godwoken, you can do that with, so we have integrated Anchor and GetBlock. It's actually great that you are asking about this, because I think I didn't include a slide on this. But yeah, you can either use Anchor or GetBlock, but we, for now, because we are still like starting and we don't have like a huge ecosystem, using public RPC nodes is fine. But if we would dive to like deeper like use cases, like for example, if you need a lot of data from the chain, then the public RPCs wouldn't be a good idea. So
yeah.
But,
awesome. But that's on the side of getting data, right? What about Godwoken? Like, why should a developer switch from, you know, someone like Ethereum or maybe like Solana or Polkadot to Godwoken or Nervos Network?
Yeah, so actually, I think that why people should care about Godwoken is, I think last year we had this like big movement of like UTXO blockchains that they became like really popular at some point, and for UTXO blockchains, it's kind of hard to program on their layer ones, but still the community is huge. Why it's hard? Because you have a different like programming model. Like in Solidity, like people are familiar with like how Solidity works, but if you would actually try to program on Nervos or on Cardano, it might be a little bit counterintuitive at first, because like the tooling is still like less mature than on Ethereum, but still the community is huge. So I think that tapping into this UTXO blockchain community using familiar tooling is one thing, because you have like a first mover advantage at this point to enable these people to build on Godwoken.
So as far as I know, Bitcoin is a UTXO blockchain, is it?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Oh, that's the most famous one. What are some of the like other UTXO blockchains?
Yeah, so we have also Cardano, Ergo, Popl. Nervos is actually in like there is something called like UTXO Alliance, where like the UTXO blockchains try to work together to address like the biggest like programming difficulties when programming on UTXO blockchains together. So
for someone who's not so familiar with UTXO, could you explain like I'm 5 for them very briefly?
All right, so basically UTXO is like instead of like having money on your bank account, you have money in multiple like safes where you store them. And if you want to do a transaction, in UTXO, you have to like gather these multiple safes from different places, and you create a transaction. While on the account data model based blockchains like Ethereum, you would just say like transfer, I don't know, $5 from this bank account to another.
Okay, so it's the mechanics of the transfer is different for UTXO blockchain.
Exactly.
And for UTXOs, is it related to payment channels?
Payment channels. I think that probably you could in a simple payment channel, I think you can have like account based, so have like indexes for like participants, but like I'm not fully sure, and just stick to like being account based. But if you experiment with like layer 2s, and for example, one of the layer 2s that I think one of the first like optimistic rollups was Fuel. And what they did basically, if you are building layer 2, you can change the data model behind it and the execution model, as long as you can verify this in a smart contract later. So if you are building layer 2, you can actually use UTXO. That's what actually like Fuel did in their layer 2.
I see. So it's like a different transfer and account storage mechanics, right? And instead of transferring the balance from the account itself, you're putting it, in your words, like a save.
Yeah, you have like balance on each of these saves, but like, and each save has its own address. But if you use it once for your transaction, then it's already consumed. That's why you have this name like UTXO. It's unspent transaction output, which means you have like only these saves that you have unspent. So you can only choose them when you are building transaction. But as soon as you take one of your saves and use it for a transaction, it changes its address.
I see. I see. In your opinion, what are some of the benefits of UTXO mechanism?
Yeah, so I think the biggest one is you separate. So in account, so if you have a global state like we have right now in Ethereum, then basically you cannot execute transactions in parallel really without like without like adding like state like access lists to the transaction, because like if you have 1,000 transactions in a block, like you cannot execute last transaction before you execute first, because like each of these like 1,000 transactions can change the global state, which is used in all of their transactions. But if you have UTXO, then you have like this different like sharded state. So you can execute transactions in you can verify transactions in parallel. You can also do this on Ethereum, but you can also do this in the future in Ethereum probably, but you would need to introduce like access lists.
I see. So it drastically increases the scale of write functions.
Yeah.
Like when you
I
write,
think so.
like the write scalability and TPS increases using a UTXO model.
Yeah, because you get around this like CPU bottleneck, and as well the state bottleneck. Right now, probably the biggest bottleneck in Ethereum is state, and the second is CPU. But yeah, UTXO poses like different challenge. Like it's kind of hard to you have kind of this, if multiple users try to reference the same piece of data, like the same state, and it changes after each transaction, then if you are building like very simple DEX, for example, then you would, if you are doing like very naive approach, you will very quickly hit a limitation where only one user can interact with a DEX in a block. Because as soon,
Right. But I'm sure there are ways to get around that limitation.
Yes, you can aggregate transactions, or you can do a rollup. Like we did with Godwoken.
I see. Okay, so Nervos is a UTXO model, but it's Godwoken UTXO.
Godwoken is EVM. It's account based. It's Ethereum. It's an Ethereum equivalent, I would say, at this point.
Equivalent. So basically, it also inherits all the dev tooling available to Ethereum developers. And so it being an optimistic rollup, it kind of does an aggregation of all the transactions and kind of like imprints it into your layer one. Is that right?
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
Very interesting. So what is the TPS of Godwoken then?
So I actually forgot what TPS do we have. I think I saw somewhere like 200 TPS, but I might be wrong. We still like optimizing and yeah, don't quote me on this, please.
It's always changing, isn't it? Like whenever the team works out something and it just increases and increases. Okay, awesome. I think you've kind of covered like why should developers be interested in Godwoken. On your slides here, it says that be first to tap into UTXO blockchain communities. So if I was a developer right now who's developing in Godwoken, technically, I don't have to work with UTXO technologies unless I'm interacting with a layer 1.
Exactly.
Okay. So, and you guys are rapidly expanding your layer 2, actually, right? Like you've got us to index your layer 2, but not the layer 1, for instance.
Yes, that's right.
Awesome.
Yeah, we basically spent last year, or maybe more than one year, focusing really hard on growing this layer 2 and building it first. Like we released like the first version like 1 year ago. The second version is now, and the previous version was kind of hard for developers to work with because we were like 95% compatible. So I think you are familiar with like the Solidity tooling and building smart contracts. So you can imagine that for the previous version, you had to use like custom Web3.js or Ethers.js provider. So you would actually like have to change your code base. And if your code base was like more complicated, more complex, then it's kind of problematic. We also had this like notion of like, that you had different address on our network than you saw on MetaMask. But yeah, we got rid of all this stuff. But yeah, it took us a year of development to fix all these issues, basically.
Awesome. And it's now fixed. And as a developer, I can happily start building on it.
Yes, exactly. When I was preparing this presentation, I found like an old slide where it listed like the issues that we had, and it was like, I don't know, seven different issues, and I was like, oh, like all of them are fixed now. And like one, the native transfers actually in MetaMask, it's going to be deployed in like a few weeks, and I was like, it got so much easier. But yeah, you
Awesome.
are right.
Awesome. That's a sign of great team there. So how do I get started? Do you have anything to show me? Like, let's say if I was very interested to find out about Godwoken ecosystem, where do I go? How do I get started?
Yeah, so basically the first place, so you need to have MetaMask or some other wallet, but probably it will be easiest to work with MetaMask. And basically you can start with our testnet. So if you would go to, testnet bridge.
So just add the network, right?
So yeah, if you land on this page, it will automatically try to add the network to MetaMask. So you probably just need to like accept in MetaMask.
Okay.
Yeah, and basically you have this like L1 wallet address. So, but what you need to do is, so this bridge is basically a bridge to deposit from Nervos to Godwoken. So first you need.
How do I get some tokens in Nervos itself then?
Yeah, so on testnet, you can just like copy this L1 wallet address and go to the faucet and paste it, and yeah, you will get some funds. I can't do it because I already. I can.
Everything that you have to claim.
Okay, it seems it worked for some reason, but I think it shouldn't, because I claimed it like an hour ago, and it should be like only 24 hours. So maybe I switched network, but yeah, that's how you get the tokens. And on the mainnet, you would have to go through some exchange right now, probably centralized to get some funds to start. We are working on some like on-ramp providers, but I don't think we have any integrated yet.
Okay, so just to recap, if I was a developer and I want to start using testnet tokens first, I would have to get some from the Nervos faucet that you showed me just now, right?
Exactly.
And then do I do a bridge where I deposit the testnet tokens to the layer 2?
Yes.
Okay, got it. And then I can start, play around with dApps in your ecosystem, am I right?
Yes, that's true.
Yes.
You basically would have to like add the RPC URL, and that's everything you have to do.
Okay, awesome. So do you recommend me to also check out how to work with Nervos, your layer 1?
So I would say it depends what is your goal, because if you would like to, as a developer, if you would like to just build something maybe quickly, or like, and like don't worry too much about like the immature tooling or stuff like this, I would recommend that you choose like layer 2 EVM, because like the tooling is like now more mature and it's easier to work with. There's a lot of documentation and stuff. But if you are like more advanced developer and you are looking maybe to leverage something like leverage one of the advantages of like the UTXO data model specifically, maybe when you know more what you are looking for, then I think then I would recommend researching how our UTXO works and smart contracts and stuff.
I see. Awesome. If I was holding on to some mainnet tokens, Godwoken tokens, right? Wait, how do I even get them right now if I want some Godwoken tokens to play around with your mainnet on layer 2?
So right now we use the native token of Nervos layer 1 as native token on layer 2.
I see.
Yeah, so yeah.
So the same way that I get from a centralized exchange, right?
Yes, that's right.
I'll play around with the dApps on Nervos, on Godwoken. What are some of the biggest dApps right now that you guys have on Godwoken?
So right now we have a DEX called Yokai Swap that is you can Yokai Swap.
So is it like a Uniswap equivalent or SushiSwap?
Yes, basically. And then we have also have like other like exchanges like Stable Swap, for example, already in like beta. We have some other applications, but I don't follow like all of them exactly, but definitely we have some DEXs and like stable swaps. I think we are working to get some like NFT marketplaces production ready.
Okay.
I spent some time recently, like last month or two, building like NFT bridge from our layer 1 to layer 2, with the goal of like enabling these people who hold like layer 1 NFTs on Nervos, because we have like a different standard there, to just be able to bridge into like ERC 721s on Godwoken. So definitely this NFT marketplace will be coming. And we are trying to just like encourage people and help them build just general DeFi and stuff. But yeah, we spent some time, as I said, like working on like the basic dev tooling, working like, for example, verifying contracts, some integrations and stuff like this.
Can you show us like what are some of the dev tooling that you guys have worked on for Godwoken?
Yes, so probably one of the next steps after you mentioned like getting tokens on the network and playing with the RPC URL, maybe you put this RPC URL in like hard hat and deployed some contracts. You probably get some like transaction hash, the addresses, and other stuff. So you probably want to go to like check out some blog explorers. We have one that was built from scratch, I believe, called GW Scan.
GW Scan.
Yeah, GW Scan. And we also have a Blog Scout fork.
Both are Blog Explorers.
Yes.
Which is the official one, or both the official one?
I would say the GW Scan is the official one. And the second is one more like community effort.
Got it. Got it. So it's v1.testnet.gwscan.com.
Yes. Yes, we also have like mainnet version of all these tooling that I'm showing, and the mainnet is operational. But just like for starting, I think it's easier to build on testnet. It's probably still cheap to like deploy on mainnet at this point, but yeah, on testnet it's free.
So your Blog Explorer for mainnet is gwscan.com. I just open it up.
Yeah. Yeah, and for the Blog Scout, we also have a mainnet version of this. Yeah.
Awesome. Apart from Blog Explorers, anything else?
Yeah, so we recently integrated Sourcify for contract verification. So you can verify contracts either in Blog Scout, kind of like on Etherscan, where you, for example, paste the source code and yeah, it tries to compile and see if the bytecode matches. But you can also use this Sourcify dev tool. And yeah, you can, for example, if I think it's very easy to verify if like this contract was like verified already on like on some other network, because you can just like paste the address of the contract. And if you see it, for example, on Ethereum mainnet, you just like can click like view in Sourcify repository, download like all the files that are stored there, like the metadata. Then you upload it again to Sourcify and you just change the address and the chain. And so that's when you have like deterministic addresses.
Awesome. That's amazing. That's amazing. I'm going to play around with it.
Sure. And yeah, we also have two Oracle providers right now. One is more like general. Second is where you have to like request like per application, but we also certainly also have like such feeds. And yeah, recently you guys were integrated into our like testnet and mainnet chains. So yeah, we're very excited for this. Before maybe you can talk more about Covalent, I'll just like briefly talk like, so basically we will have some changes to our network shortly. We are going to remove instant finality because we found some like incompatibilities with, for example, with like Ethers.js tooling. We will change the block time, and we are planning also to build like the sidechain, like application specific chain. So yeah, potentially we will be looking later to integrate all the developer tooling on the Axon sidechain later as well.
Is that the name of your sidechain, Axon sidechain?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that is a sidechain tool got woken.
So right now we are still figuring out like how to best utilize it, like whether to have like, for example, one network to facilitate all the applications, or just deploy it like per application, or just have it to be like some kind of like hub where you can bridge to like where the Axon is the hub that you can like talk to like different apps through this. But yeah, we're still figuring out the best way how we can utilize Axon sidechain.
Amazing. Really exciting stuff.
Yeah, so
yeah,
I guess we talked about how you can like deploy smart contracts. I think the crucial part of deploying the application in 2022 in blockchain is probably also displaying data from the chain, like the events and all this stuff, and the indexing. So I would obviously love, as a developer who's building on Godwoken, to learn more how I could use your tool Covalent basically for this stuff.
Yeah, so Covalent is a way for you to get on-chain data that adds as an like add-on, right, to your standard JSON RPC manners, right? You've talked about your providers that you use to Godwoken, and those are all great. It allows you to do a lot of things, right? Where Covalent comes in is just in terms of time savings for you to get more aggregated data, because if you use those providers before, you will realize very quickly that in order to build a simple, let's say like dashboard for the likes of a protocol like info.uniswap.com, you would need to, the steps that it takes to get all the data points are prohibitively difficult or just so tedious, right? That it doesn't make sense. So that's why we kind of come in as the aggregated data middleware layer, where you can just use us to get aggregated data for any kind of like smart contracts or wallet addresses and so on and so forth. So our approach
I have to say that I watched before this presentation your colleague's demo of like the NFT dashboard.
Is that Leilani?
Possibly, and yeah, it was super easy. And one thing I loved that you basically didn't, she basically didn't leave like the GitHub interface to do like all the code changes. So I think that was amazing for like ease of use. Like I thought like even maybe people who like not necessarily developers could use this tool. I think it was amazing and it was very easy.
Yes, exactly. So it's basically made for that audience in mind, for either developers who really want to abstract away the need to deal with EVM layer data formats, right, in the form of JSON RPC, or for people who are analysts or general public who are very curious about what this blockchain is, right? Because at the end of the day, a blockchain is a database. And beneath the hype, the crypto media and everything, like at the end of the day, like a blockchain is a series of transactions, a series of events and etc. And those people need to know, they deserve to know like what is blockchain in its essence. And that's why we kind of expose these data in the most simple format. Not only can you get it in the JSON form, you can also get it in CSV form, right? Using our API reference, there's a CSV mode or analyst mode where you can get it in like Google Sheets and Excel sheet. Everything is all properly formatted for you. So that is where we see ourselves coming in to get aggregated data in the most convenient manner across multiple chains. So maybe I'll just talk a bit about like how our stack works, right? Like obviously the blockchains themselves, Godwoken included, you guys host the data, you guys expose it through nodes, and then we see ourselves like as like this data layer, which kind of like get these aggregated data formatted into specific use cases that's very common to what the developers want, like NFT use cases, like DEX use cases. And then we supply them these data that we think they want, and hopefully they can power their applications, right? And so let me just quickly share with you how you can use the API to get some Godwoken on-chain data. I think it'll be fun. Given that Daniel has showed us the GW scan just now, I think a good exercise would be to just get some addresses from it and see how we can pull out all its balances, for instance. Wait, I've got this thing shared to just this slide. So I will need to share a different screen. Let me just quickly share it again.
By the way, where do you see like most use from people? Is it more like viewing the NFTs or just like general analyzing like DeFi applications?
I think it's the most use cases for us actually is wallet use cases. So, and I'll share with you why. Because like if you want to get wallet address, wallet balances, right? For instance, even for your wallet using JSON RPC, right now the approach is to supply each token address as well as their ABI into the core on hard hat, for instance, right? And then you get the balances for that particular token. So if you hold 100 tokens, that will be like 100 steps. And most of the time, you don't know how many tokens a person is holding, right? So it's a catch-22. Whereas for our approach, like you just key in the wallet address and it'll return you all your balances. I stand to be corrected, but can you think of another way that you get like all the balances of an address?
I think if you don't have like fixed list of tokens, then yeah, you have to somehow process all the events, I think, to view all the tokens. Yeah.
Yes. So that is really tedious. And if like, for instance, if you have an application on the front end mainly, right, and you want to display the balances of your users. So, you know, developing that using the traditional approaches would just be, you have to collect all of their token addresses that they hold. Whereas here, it's a more like user-centric approach where you have the user's wallet address and bam, all the tokens are there. That's
yeah,
the
definitely
number.
agreed. Yeah, I think like talking to users on like Discord and stuff, whenever they like receive something that, for example, even like certain custom wallet like even doesn't support, they always expect it's going to show there. So
Dude, like, because traditionally we're used to that mental model, right? But then the EVM came about, and then it gave us this other model where, like, you know, you have to go search for the tokens that you own. So that's
you're right.
Yeah, that's counterintuitive for a lot of people, especially those who are new to the space and those who are new to the operations of like the EVM data structure. So yeah, let me just quickly get a random address here. So I'm now on GWScan, Godwoken Scan, which is Godwoken's Block Explorer. And I'm just gonna look for some latest transactions from this guy. Let's see what wallet. He's got 52 transactions. Where are his balances? Do you know?
Oh, it's on the right, under the, yeah, it's here.
But is this a native token balance?
Yes.
He's not holding on to any other tokens, this guy.
Yeah, in this Explorer, you would have to either go to like ERC20 transfers tab or user-defined assets. Oh, I think this is a yokai swap user, by the way.
Oh, okay. So, okay, so we see that they have wrapped CKB and PCKB, right? I mean, just two assets, but let's give it a go. Copy his address, and then you go to our API reference. You can make all these queries directly from the browser. Let's choose Godwoken mainnet. Yeah, right?
Yeah, mainnet. Yes, you are mainnet GWScan.
Yes, and then we go to let's get this guy's balance. Yeah. Let's hope it runs probably, because sometimes the UI does not run when you change the chain ID. Is this okay? Yeah, we've got this. There we go. So he holds some CKB, this amount of CKB, 283. So this amount, obviously, you divide it by 10 to the power of the contract decimal to get it in the standard unit of Wei. So of ETH. This is in Wei, right? And so 284,107. Let's go back to, yeah. So this is this amount that you see here of CKB, and he's holding on to something else, the rep. Oh, is this yokai swap token actually? Oh, no, but this is dust. I think there's not much that he's holding. So there's still some more dust. And then rep CKB.
So what does the dust mean?
Good question.
Does it mean that he used to hold it in the past? Because this address, certainly he was a yokai swap user, but maybe he like staked all his tokens.
Right. User-defined assets.
In
Technically,
ERC20 transfers, I think there was some like transactions with the yokai.
perhaps. But if you know that if this is the amount that he's currently holding,
For the PCKB, for like the native asset on Godwoken, it's actually for now before we. So right now we don't support like native transfers, and Godwoken by default is like ERC20 token on our network. So when someone can transfer to someone else, and we have like ERC20 wrapper for CKB, that is actually like it doesn't emit transfer events. So it's possible that for the CKB, it might be a little bit weird because you have some like transfers that can happen without the transfer ERC20 event, but for all other ERC20 tokens, it would be more obvious the
this case,
values and stuff.
rep CKB is an ERC20, right?
Yes, these are ERC20s, but these are like ERC20s that you don't need to wrap, basically. So yeah, basically, if someone sends you like 10 CKB, your ERC20 wrapped CKB balance will automatically increase. It's like hard-coded in the chain.
Oh, interesting. I've learned something new again. That's very unique to this. So, okay, just to clarify again, then what is PCKB?
PCKB, so basically on Nervos Layer 1, we have CKB, which has like 8 decimals. But for the purpose of compatibility on our layer 2, we use 18 decimals. So PCKB is just like CKB, but with 18 decimals instead of 8.
Okay, so the one that I see here, which is CKB, so actually it is reflective of PCKB here, right? Because this is the...
Yes, it's possible. It's possible that these ERC20 like wrapped CKB addresses don't have correct symbol, right? Because it should say probably PCKB instead of CKB.
Yeah. Okay, I'll leave that to my network team to decipher, but maybe we can try another one.
What you can also do is, I think if you go to this token tab, yeah, somewhere, and if you maybe try bridge token holders, are you able to like sort by like holders?
Oh, this one?
Or like, oh, it's not possible. So in block scout it would be possible, but yeah, I was just thinking maybe we can go to like some existing token and just try to like reverse it. So instead of like trying to find a user that holds tokens, we could go to like token and try to find like big holders, for example.
Possible. It's just for this endpoint, it's the balances one. So I thought I'll just get a user address to kind of show how one can start using it. Or we can try to find another one. Like,
yeah, I have another question to the JSON output actually. So I have seen like quote values. This is like the prices from the centralized exchange, or
this is the price in USD, but these prices I derive from an exchange rate, obviously, that corresponds to the current time of call. And then the prices itself come from CoinGecko. I think that's the vendor that we use to get pricing data.
yeah, I'm asking because like often when we work with the teams who are building like DeFi applications, they want to display dollar values in the front end. So that's actually helpful for these people.
Yes, exactly. So So with this, you can, both display the exact amount and also the dollar value without having to go through like a third API to just get the exchange conversion rate.
That's always a problem because you have to go to like another vendor, get another API key, and all this stuff.
Yes, exactly. I'm not sure if you can find one that holds NFT, but technically through this endpoint as well, if you select this NFT equals true, it also returns you all your NFTs. I don't know whether that one holds any. So
for NFTs, it would be a bit hard probably to find a user that holds them on the Godwoken, because
okay.
I think that most of our NFT users are on layer 1. But this will probably change soon as we build a bridge and we deploy the NFT marketplace.
Yeah, exactly. So devs, this is an opportunity for you to get in there on the Godwoken NFT game, because you'll be one of the first. Right? Am I right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was an example of how you can get balances. You can also get all the token holders as of any block height. So that was what you were mentioning just now. That for instance, if we have do you guys have wrapped ether or something? I think I saw it.
We do.
Yeah. I think one of these, right? And it has 122 holders here. So
I think this one where you have like 2 Ethereum. Yeah, this one, I think. This is Ethereum bridge from Ethereum.
Okay,
because
so
we have also Ethereum bridge from like Binance chain.
Okay, is this the token address? Or
yes, I believe so.
So this is the token, but it says here that it is the account address. How are these like configured on Godwoken?
Account. So basically the GW scan was built from our team, like by our teams. So it's possible that it's a new explorer, it's a new software basically. So it's like, for example, only recently we have added like Sourcify integration. So it's still being developed. So it's possible so that some like naming and stuff is not like the most accurate.
Got it. But this is the token address of Ether.
I think it probably is.
We can try to give it a go and see if it works. Maybe they are expecting some kind of address. Well,
so okay.
We can debug it maybe at a later time. Token bridged token.
1 second, I will send you a link on Zoom to our documentation that we have.
Okay.
And we have like a list of tokens there.
I see.
And so for Ether on Godwoken mainnet, the address should be this one.
I'm actually on a different laptop, but other reference is it?
It's in basic concepts. It's yeah, and tokens here.
I see. Let's try this. There we go. Let's see if collapse the items, how many do we have? We're 49. So these are all the token holders of this token of Ether, and these are all their addresses. And let's say this person holds this balance here. Let's go back to GW scan. how do I see his user defined? There we go. We've got
this is a smart contract, right? Yeah, this is smart contract.
it's a contract account that holds this asset.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And so yeah, 138.73. No, that's the wrong. Yeah, 138.73. So using this endpoint, which is get token holders as of any block height, you would be able to find all the token holders of ETH, for instance. So that's very neat. So these are some NFT applications, and also I think what's a very interesting one will be transactions endpoint. So like, let's say you want to find all the transactions of this, this smart contract. Let's see what transactions this smart contract emitted. These are the transactions, right? And again, you copy the contract address and you get all the transactions for this address. I think given that it's a contract, it might have like quite a fair bit of transactions. Let's see how many transactions it has. Oh my God. 10K, 100K.
I think it's just the message. I don't think it has 10K.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we've got it, but it's a very large response and my screen is kind of.
Yeah, it's possible that it's like one of the like yokai swap smart contracts, which is our biggest DEX at this moment on the token.
So yeah, so it's a massive response of the transactions on this account. I would say probably this response itself is 30 to 50 MB, and that's why it took a while. But yeah, so these are all the transactions that this contract has emitted. Every single transaction. So you can see how this is very useful if even for building like a GW scan page, or if you want like this feature in your next front end application for your dApp.
Yeah, or some data analytics, as you said. Like we actually had some people in the past asking, yeah, like, do you know who is the holder? Like, do mostly like whales are using this application, or mostly like small people? But yeah, at the time we didn't have the Covalent integration done yet, and actually, yeah, it was very easy when you demonstrated it to me today, how you can get such a list of token holders.
Yeah. So all these become like your raw data that you probably pipe into some calculation engine that you built on your front end to kind of derive the data that you want. Typically, that's the flow that I use to develop anything. So
actually,
okay.
I have a question related to this, because you said you take this raw data and you process it yourself. But yeah, as I said before you started introducing Covalent to the audience, there was I mentioned this like NFT dashboard. I wonder if you have also at Covalent some like SDKs where you already like process data for people on the front end, or do you mostly provide data?
So we have a community maintained one that's based on Node and TypeScript. So the data is kind of like, you see the format, it's not entirely not processed, but oftentimes when you, for instance, this, right? Okay, so this is pretty structured. But oftentimes when you are looking into, so this is the transactions endpoint, right? When you're looking into the response object of each of these transactions, there are specific fields that you're interested in. And you have to do, well, what I found myself having to do is to do some level of like extraction to extract just the fields that you're interested in to create like a new object to display or to pipe it in the way that you want to into like a charting engine, for instance. So that's what I meant by like processing. But so, and this kind of process would be pretty unique to your use case, I would imagine. So, but in terms of SDK, we've got this community maintained one here based on TypeScript that you can start using. Like it enables you to kind of like just basically abstract each of those endpoints into one function that you can call in a node environment, for instance. And then all the responses are typed for you, right? So then you can kind of like easily debug it and use it in your development workflow.
Yeah, I think I mostly use, if I can find a TypeScript library for something, I usually use it.
Yes, definitely. So this is what you will be looking for. But given that it's community maintained, I think the last we checked, it was working very well. That was 2 months ago.
I think what people would do is like when they would integrate, they would probably like if they wouldn't be using this SDK, then they would just like try to develop these typings themselves. From my experience, like working with like people who are building DeFi apps and are using TypeScript. So I think it's a great starting point to use this library.
Definitely. And I think at some point we'll probably want to like formalize it and make it like really available for all of our devs as well. Yeah, so I've already gone through most of what I wanted to show you guys, or how to get on-chain data from the Covalent network that you can start powering your front-end dapps, because you guys are probably like going to be developing your backend and Solidity and everything. And the last thing you need is like additional resource to kind of and days and weeks to kind of come up with like a analytics page for your dApp. Whereas using this, like you can probably spin something up in a matter of 1 or 2 days. Yep. That is the Covalent API. And so some other examples of what you can build. You can build like an OpenSea equivalent. Like all these can be built using our endpoints. Very, very fast. You can build this with JSON RPC, but it will take you weeks. Some of these individual pages, you can build portfolio managers, right? Again, something like this is the balances endpoint, like I showed you just now. This, you just turn your NFT equals to true to show all your NFTs here. So this is something that we also provide. If you're a DEX and you want info.uniswap page just like this, we have a series of endpoints called the XY equals to K endpoints, and you should go explore them because it is very powerful information of DEXs that returns you all the pools on a particular DEX, as well as the some financial information like 24-hour volume and number of swap counts, for instance. And all these are very useful for building something like this.
So one question here, these examples like how to build Uniswap and these previous pages, are they also available in the Covalent documentation or just in your presentation?
You mean, okay, so this slides is just a one-pager, right? We don't have like an exact tutorial on each of these components, but we are working them out eventually. Like for instance, we're building out this Web3 resources library where we have those in React components. So for instance, something like this, it's a wallet kind of page where you list all the tokens. We've built this out as a component library in React for you. You can just go in there, dive in there to kind of examine the code and just pull whatever you need. So this is like all the token balances of a wallet address. This one is all your ERC20 transfers that you can build. All the data is already piped for you. And we've also exported it as a node module for you to quickly import that React component to see how it looks like. and token holders. Right now, we haven't gone into the part about DEXs, but we will be at some point. And I guess we might turn it into a tutorial, or if you give a star to this repo, you'll be able to find the source code there for you to just study and pull in as and when you want. So
good stuff.
yeah, man. So that's the state of our progress here. And if you have any questions, of course, like hit us up on Discord and we'll be very happy to help you build some stuff. And again, you can build something like Conway's wallet, which using our balances endpoint is what we pride ourselves for. A CoinGecko, for instance. Yeah, that's all I've got for you guys here. Whew.
Yeah, thank you so much for this. I think we probably have some people from our like build club accelerator where these are like community teams, like smaller teams building applications. And as you said, like for a smaller team who not necessarily has resources to like, you know, spend building like either API endpoints, which can take months, as you said. It's really great to just use these like available tools, and we're really happy that it's integrated on Godwoken mainnet and people can use it.
Yeah, and the good thing is we also have the Godwoken testnet endpoints. So while you're developing, you can, you know, just use the testnet to kind of get your on-chain data. You can even do it when you're debugging something, you know, without going through the actual function call of a smart contract. You can kind of use the API to see, oh, is my contract address live, for instance, or like how many transactions are against my contract, right? It's just another way for you to do stuff. So yeah, I believe we've kind of reached the end of our presentation here. We can open it up to Q&A if there's any. Let's take a look. Question for Daniel. What kind of consensus is currently used in Godwoken?
In Godwoken right now, we have proof of authority. We are planning to switch to proof of stake at some point in the future right now.
Awesome. Isn't Yokai Dojo an NFT marketplace on Godwoken?
I think there was a plan and probably already some announcements for like NFT marketplace from the Yokai team. I have to say that I might be not fully up to date with all the applications that are being deployed, just because in the meantime I'm working myself to get some of these dApps or like help other developers. So yeah, if someone is asking about this, then probably it would be good to check out the Yokai Dojo. Probably link can be found in like on like Yokai Swap page or Yokai Twitter. If this marketplace is already live, it's great. And yeah.
Yeah, like I think all these as the chain starts to build and formalize itself, like there's so many dApps popping up, right? That like if you are, I guess, like an early enthusiast, which you are if you are watching this workshop, it'll constantly be changing. And the only way to get most up to date is to perhaps go to the sites themselves and start using them. Yeah. Awesome. So I think that's the end of our Q&A. It's an awesome session that I had with you, Daniel. I learned so much about not just Nervos, not just Godwoken, but also like UTXO models and the benefits of those. And it was a pleasure talking to you and learning from you about all these things of what you're doing there.
Cool. I really like the formula of today's talk, as the live demos and stuff. And I have to say that the integration right now is working quite fast when you were like sending the requests. So that's really cool.
Yeah, it is. Sometimes they don't work so fast and I'm put on the spot, you know, and then I have to go back to my engineering team like, yo guys, you guys you guys put me on the spot again. But today I'm quite happy that that even for such a large
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, that you picked like a large data set that you wanted to query for.
Yeah,
and it works quite fast. So that's
yeah,
cool.
which does show the power of Covalent here. So thank you so much, Daniel. I had a pleasure being able to talk to you, and hopefully for the devs watching, you can start building on Godwoken. Daniel showed you how, and when you're building any like front end application and you need on-chain data, you can start using Covalent. That's the easiest way out there for you, probably. Yep. If not,
yeah, so maybe I'll just like end with a final note that if someone wants to like ask some questions about Godwoken, you can find me on like Nervos Discord in the dev chat channel. And maybe it would be good if you can also say like if some developers from Godwoken who are building on Godwoken want to ask you some questions, how can they catch you?
Yeah, so I will be on the Covalent Discord under the developer feedback and support channel. So you can find me there. My team is pretty active there most of the time. Yeah.
Amazing.
Awesome. It was a blast. And see you guys soon. Take care, Daniel.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.